If you think you're going to get me to sit here and analyze why I write this and why I write that's a complete and total waste of time to ask any writer that, I think. But what's the point? It's in the songs, and it's in the poetry, and it's in the stories, and I think everybody is everybody's melancholy, and everybody's manic, and everybody's, you know, the nicest guy in the world, and everybody's a fucking axe murderer at a given moment. I'm thinking about giving up his rambling round and hanging up my highway shoes. Lately when I walk, it make a hollow sound, and it carry me away from you. Every night I lay my body down, and my empty arms just leave me blue. So I'm thinking about giving up this rambling around and find my way back home to you.
I think, like I said, he was afraid that he wouldn't maybe write afterwards, only because it takes so much concentration at first to stay sober. I mean, I guess the way he told me is that I think he said it was about after 3 years, he says, I think I'm feeling pretty good now. I think I'm feeling what's supposed to be normal now, instead of having to concentrate on staying sober all the time. But I don't think I think he was always meant to be an artist, but at the same time, he just happened to become an addict at the same time at a very young age. I think he was an addict officially at 16 or 17.
The whole idea that I'm still here, believe me, nobody did more to not be here anymore than I did. And the fact that I'm still on this planet is proof to me that I'm here for a reason. I really do believe that. And that's a really powerful place to operate from. But I really do believe that, I mean, I was in 3 car wrecks that should have killed me, 4 overdoses. One of them I was completely by myself, no one there to help me. I just woke up. And I'm still here.
He was that close very close to us losing him.
How do you know?
Because I would lean over with the mirror, see if he was breathing sometimes. I had like a shot needle a nurse friend gave me to give him if he OD'd. The places he had to go in order to get what he needed, it was just a matter of time for someone shot. I was with him one time when they had guns and stuff. It was funny, they had guns, and then the police pulled in behind us, so I was sitting there going, which one's worse, we're gonna get shot or get arrested? What am I doing here? I don't even do drugs.
I don't scar that really badly. I mean, they're there, but they're really hard to see. You can feel them. Backs of my arms, there's a lot of scar tissue running like that, and where you can really see them is in my hands. See that bump? That's from a blown out vein, so that, see all that scar tissue there. But I just don't scar easily. See, you can see a really faint line right there. Some people scar worse than others, and they get really bad, you know, raised keloid scars from needle tracks, and I just didn't. And believe me, it wasn't because I wasn't trying.
What's this?
It's that steel-cut oatmeal. So good. It's much more labor-intensive than the minute variety, but he's been a lot more careful lately with his diet.
Oh, he has a diet. Yeah.
Off and on. Now he's on.
Heroin's really, really hard on your voice. It relaxes your vocal cords, and then you continue to sing and try to bring them up to pitch. By the time The Hard Way came along, in my 4th album, I was really having trouble. And if you go back and listen to Shut Up and Die Like an Aviator, the live record we did during that tour, the band is smoking, but I'm really struggling as a singer, and that was all heroin.
Steve has always had a kind heart, very giving, but at the same time, he could run right over anybody in his path. I think very, very lethal with his mouth. Sometimes, you know, I would rather, I think, be for someone to walk up and punch me than to say some of the things that he could say to someone. they do more damage.
Well, you eat brown sugar in it. I can't deal with that. It's too sweet. I need a knife though. Huh? Yeah, I know, but it defeats the purpose of trying to eat a healthy breakfast with a bunch of sugar in it.
Late at night on some dark desert highway, on my way to another lonesome town. Thought I might see the first light of a new day as it lay like fool's gold on the ground. But whenever I'm feeling low, I won't have to cry alone, I know. You will answer when I call. If I soar above the clouds and then I come crashing back to earth again, you will catch me when I fall.
All these years I've watched you trip and stumble. There were times that I feared that you were lost. But every tear I dried after that you tumble comes to me when considering the cost.
But whenever I'm feeling low, I won't have to cry alone, I know. 'Cause you will answer when I call. If I soar above the clouds and then I come crashing back to earth.
We've just moved back into this house after I've been living. I was living at Sarah's house in Sewanee. Are you after the people again? And we just sort of moved back into this place recently, so stuff's still in boxes, and all my CDs are in here. A lot of this stuff has been accumulated since in the last 5 years. I mean, I certainly don't have any guitars that I had before. You know, I own 150, 60 guitars, but most of them are at the studio. But you'll see them later. But I didn't own a single guitar 5 years ago, and I had that many guitars before that. I just traded them all for drugs, and so, you know, the only stuff that was left in the house was stuff that was either had no value in a pawn shop or was too big for me to get in the car by myself. You know, so I didn't pawn the bed because I couldn't get it in the truck. I had some questions about whether I wanted to move back here because I spent some of the most miserable years of my life in this house. And, you know, I wasn't here very much, but when I was here, I was pretty miserable. But this seems to be kind of a different place now.
How did it look like in the worst years? I mean,
Well, there was frogs in the pool, and you know, it was all green and stuff growing in it, and yeah, it looked like Sunset Boulevard. It was like, you know, grass was about this high in the front yard. You know, the house looks pretty much the same, you know, but you know, we've kind of painted everything now. You know, we've been doing a lot of work on it the last couple of months.
But you in those years, you came back here, you lived here as well. I mean,
I didn't really. What I did was I came here and took showers about once every 2 weeks or so. For the most part, I didn't sleep very much. I would sleep, you know, every 5 or 6 days at best, and you know, the rest of the time I just sort of ripped and ran and took drugs, and it was just a full-time job to go out and find the amount of drugs I needed every day.
and how about your music making? You know,
I didn't own a guitar, didn't write a song for 4.5 years. I mean, you know, I was dying, and you know, that was just, I think that was the first part of me that went, was what I do, my art. Towns came out here. He really didn't believe that he was going to be able to get me to do anything different because he was drinking himself to death, but he thought maybe he'd come out and he could come out and talk to me. But it was really weird the way it ended up. I was gone. I was in town looking for drugs, and got back out here, and Towns' truck was in my driveway, and walked in, and he was sitting on the couch in there, and he'd just sort of come in, and he was sitting there playing my guitar, and he said, "You look like shit." And I said, "I know." He said, "Your arms really look like shit." I said, "I know." He said, "Do you have clean needles?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Every time?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "All right, let me play you this song that I've been working on." And, you know, that was the end of it. That was, I mean, he knew that he couldn't come out here and say, "You really need to stop doing this," because nobody could tell him that.
And then what, he stayed for a couple days, or?
No, he stayed and played a couple songs, and then got in his truck and he left.
Do you remember what songs he played for you?
Oh, yeah. He played Marie, which is one of the last really great songs that he wrote. He had just written it.
Well, I stood in line and left my name. It took about 6 hours or so. While the man just grinned like it was all a game, and they said they'd let me know. I put in my time till the Pocono line shut down 2 years ago. I was living at the mission till I met Marie. I can't stay there no more. Well, I fell across town, city looking for a man, moved some old cars around. Maybe me and Marie could find a burned out van and do a little settling down. Oh, but I'm just dreaming, I ain't got no ride, and the junkyard's a pretty good ways. That job's about a half week old, besides, be gone now anyway. Unemployment says I got no more checks, and they showed me to the hall. My brother died in Georgia some time ago.
How come that most of your songs are sad songs?
Well, you know, I don't think they're all that sad. I have a few that aren't sad. They're like hopeless, but a totally hopeless situation. And the rest aren't sad. They're just the way it goes, kind of. I mean, you don't think life's sad.
He died in January during New Year's Day of 98, I guess. Or was it 97? Maybe 97. No, New Year's Day of 98. I met Towns, and, you know, I was a folk singer, and I was playing coffee houses in Texas, so I heard about him, you know, because he was sort of a legend. But I met him at, the first time I saw him in person was at Jerry Jeff Walker's 36th birthday, which I wasn't even invited to. I crashed it. I heard where it was going to be, and I just went and sort of stayed close to the walls. And all my heroes, you know, were there. You know, Jerry Jeff was there, and Milton Carroll, and all these Texas songwriters, and Willie Nelson. And all of a sudden, here came Towns through the door, and he's wearing this beautiful white buckskin jacket that Jerry Jeff had given him for his birthday, because his birthday was about 2 weeks before. And he immediately started a crap game, a dice game, and lost every dime he had and that jacket within about 20 minutes. And I thought, my hero. And I was just fascinated with him. I was 17, and you know, it was and I was a folk singer, and I thought he was the first real live folk singer that I'd ever seen. He didn't really even live anywhere. I mean, for 8 years, he didn't have a permanent address. And just sort of traveled around and stayed with friends, and
What attracted you to that as a singer?
well, I mean, I think that's just fundamentally romantic, you know. And I think that if you do what I do, there's a point in your life when that's going to be very attractive, and it still is. I still, until really recently, I really needed to travel really badly. And I still don't know how I would, you know, I find myself now wanting to slow down a little bit, wanting to, mainly because I kind of have a life and I want to be home.